It's Nick here for Into Boxing, and I'm delighted to be joined by Fabio Wardley. First of all, Fabio, how are we?
I'm good, mate. All is well, mate. All is well. How's things with you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Can't complain. Big fight last night. Get straight into that. Obviously, Oleksandr Usyk coming out on top in the rematch with Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. Just give us your thoughts on the fight. How do you think both of them performed?
I think it was a career best performance for AJ, even though he did lose. I think he showed a lot of I think Robert Garcia, whatever the plan they put together, whatever they've worked on and stuff has really hit home for him. He looked really comfortable in some of the work that he was doing. He looked like he was confident in the punches he was throwing, some of that body work, bits like that. He had a good demeanor about him. That old AJ demeanor that's confident in his ability and his work, and he had that bit there. Um, and obviously Usyk is just Usyk. He's just a wizard, unfortunately, and he's a near on impossible man to beat in them situations. Just to try and manage his work rate, the stamina, the pressure he puts on you, the way he makes you think, the way he makes you work is just so difficult. But a great performance, like I say, from AJ, and a very good performance from Usyk. Obviously, both had their moments, but great fight overall.
Yeah, it was a really good fight. Obviously, I think it was round 9 where AJ really got to Usyk, and I think a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, is this the moment that he's going to take him out?" And obviously, Usyk responded in round 10, came back, and an unbelievable round for Usyk. It swung both ways. How did you score the fight?
I had it mostly for Usyk. Um, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't really score it. I would have given it to Usyk by maybe 3 to 4 rounds, something like that. I think it was relatively comfortable. Don't get me wrong, AJ had good moments, good rounds, and there was a few closer rounds in there as well, which you could have swung either way if you wanted to. But for the most part, I think the Usyk victory was quite clear.
Yeah, I think a lot of people online would definitely agree with that. I think it was a lot of, obviously, with the AJ scorecard where he won on. I think there was a lot of sort of uproar online I saw last night. But as you say, I think Usyk, the right man, got the victory in the end. But what does Anthony Joshua do next? I mean, he's this is what, third defeat of his career, but like you say, he put in a career best performance. There's still plenty of big fights out there for AJ.
Yeah, definitely. It depends. It depends what he wants to do. Like the geezer's had a great career in terms of fights, big events. He's boxed all. He's back. He's boxed in Cardiff. He's boxed at Wembley. Has he done Wembley? Am I lying?
Yeah,
He has
Wembley.
done
Yeah,
Wembley.
yeah, Wembley.
He's boxed at Wembley. He's boxed at MSG. He's boxed all over the world, Saudi, and against great competitors as well. Loads of world champions. Maybe he goes, you know what? I'm done. It's okay. Like sometimes it's okay to just go, you know what, I don't want to get punched in the face anymore. I'm all right. Like I'm good. I've got quite a bit of money in my bank. I want to chill out. He's got a kid. He wants to maybe spend more time with his kid and properly settle down, have a family, and do that kind of thing. Maybe he wants to do that. Difficult to see because us as fighters, we're a bit broken in the head where we can't seem to stay away from the sport one way or another. We have like post fight, even happens with me. I'll sit there for a week and then I'll be like, all right, I want to get back in there now. Like I'll be like, I need to like you need to have that week off after a fight and relax and chill. And then I'll be like, nah, maybe I should just go back to the gym today. Like it's like 2 days later, and nah, maybe I should just get back in the gym now. Like just a little something, just a little something. Just you've got this weird with as boxers, we've got this weird little voice in the back of our head that's like, go on, go do it, go train, go do this, and you're just like, oh, go on then. And like you say, there's so many great fights out there. There's so many good ones for him. There's a very obvious one, Dillian White. There's Deontay Wilder out there. There's obviously a potential of the Tyson Fury thing, depending on situations, how things go, his retirement, if he fights Usyk, blah blah blah. But there's still a lot of great fights out there. He doesn't have to retire. He can still be massively entertaining. But again, it all depends really. I think he really needs some time off. a time away from boxing and the sport, and then come back and go, this is how I feel and this is what I want.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to look at it, and there are so many good fights out there. As you said, they're great domestic dust up with Dylan White. That'd be another unbelievable fight. It was great the first time round. Obviously, the big fight in America, Deontay Wilder. You touched on Tyson Fury there. Obviously, Oleksandr Usyk, I think last night was discussing that fight as possibly the fight that he wants next. Can you see Tyson coming out of retirement for that fight? And how do you see it playing out if him and Usyk do fight?
I can do, yeah. And I think he even not tweeted, I think he even put something on like an Insta story or something somewhere saying, yeah, I would come out for the Usyk fight. I think he would. I think it makes sense. It makes sense for everyone. Everyone wants to see it. It's a very interesting fight for different reasons, because of one, the size difference, because they're both quite a lot. They're quite movers. Neither of them are particularly static fighters. Neither of them are massively like muscle bound. Although obviously Fury is big, he's a heavy guy, but he's not like built like an AJ kind of thing. So there's a lot of different variables to it that makes it very interesting. And in terms of picking a winner, I really don't know where I sit. It's probably one of the hardest fights I'd ever have to pick for. I really don't know. I'd just have to see how it pans out after a round or two and make a decision from there.
Yeah, it'd be a really interesting fight to see, and hopefully that it does happen. And like I say, hopefully, AJ does come back, and hopefully maybe down the line we do get the AJ Fury fight as well. So I think that'd still be a massive, massive seller. Another heavyweight fight on the undercard last night: Filip Hrgovic and Zhilei Zhang. How did you get to see that fight, and what do you think of that?
Yeah, I watched it. It was weird fight, a weird performance from Filip Hrgovic. He's someone I'm quite familiar with. I spent a month in Miami sparring with him when he was getting ready for a fight. So he's someone I know well in terms of being in the ring with. And based off Zhang's performance with Jerry Forrest, I really didn't, not to take away from him at all, but the hype of Filip Hrgovic plus the performance of Zhang versus Jerry Forrest, I really didn't think it'd be even too much of a competition. I really thought he might clean him out within 6 rounds or so. He obviously did get the win. I think maybe slightly controversial, depending on how you want to look at it. Zhang had his moments, but Zhang again has this thing where he drops off at the back end. He does have those stamina troubles sometimes where he can just not really do too much. So I think maybe that's where Hrgovic nicked it. But that's not the Hrgovic we've seen before. That's not the Hrgovic we saw against Molina or anything like that before. So interesting, strange performance, but sometimes you don't know what's going on with other people behind the scenes. He might have, I don't know, had troubles going here, there, everywhere, issues, injuries, you don't know. But just not the best performance I've seen from him.
No, I think people would agree with that, but he got the job done. He got the victory, and now he's mandatory for the IBF, I think it is. Mm-hmm. What do you think that Filip will do? Can he go on and become heavyweight champion of the world?
It depends who his opponent is. If it's Tyson Fury, no. If it's Oleksandr Usyk, no. It just depends who is on the other side of it, really. I think he can. I think he has the ability. Like he obviously has the pedigree as well. We know his amateur background, but in terms of certain people and certain situations, and based off that fight, I'm not too sure. Like I say, he may have had some things going on different circumstances which affected his performance or however, but there was a lot there that seemed to be exposed almost, because the El Animal presence that he brings of being this monster, destroyer, whatever, seemed to be slightly exposed to a point where you saw quite a few flaws that we hadn't seen against when he was fighting the lower levels of like an Eric Molina and things like that.
Now, we obviously saw yourself out on the Derek Chisora undercard, and I saw before Derek's put a poster on his social media of him versus Zhang, Big Bang versus War. Fancy seeing that?
Yeah, I would actually. You say that, it's actually a really good fight. I've never actually put that together, but that's actually a really good fight, and I'd really be interested to see that. I would. I'd like to see that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think that would be pure entertainment, as they say. let's turn our attention to yourself. Obviously, I mentioned there, obviously, your last time out beat Chris Healy. Then, obviously, there was the Nathan Gorman fight ordered, but you've had a slight injury. How's the injury healing up?
Yeah, it's an injury I've had for a few years. Something I've just been more so masking for the past couple of years and just getting through basically. But now with the fight being signed, well, I knew the big fight would get signed before the end of the year. I had the appropriate things planned for after the fight to get things sorted, get things adjusted, so I can get myself back to 100% because I've probably been working at about 80% so far. Having to deal with these injuries, manage them through camp, minimize things like sparring and just impact on my body in certain places because of the said injury. So I haven't always been able to work at a top level that I wanted to. But obviously with the big fight in Lou, had to get that sorted, done now, just in recovery mode at the moment, and then just gonna go from there.
Have you heard anything in terms of when the Gorman fight possibly could happen yourself?
No, obviously Ed's been quite busy with Saudi, AJ. I'm not quite that much of a priority yet to take over the seat from AJ and be the number one interest. But in the next coming weeks, we'll have that conversation about kind of when I'll be ready. It's also based on my injury in terms of how long the recovery process is going to take. It feels really good at the moment. Like my medical team that I work with are really happy and they're really quite surprised with how quickly it's healing and working. So, yeah, I'd probably, if I was to give you a rough estimate, November, December, something like that.
Cool. I can't wait to see that fight. It's a great fight. Must get your opinion on another big heavyweight fight that's was announced and is coming up very soon. Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker, heading to Manchester. Thoughts on that fight?
Great fight. I do think it's a great fight. I think it'll be a very entertaining fight to watch. Joyce is always entertaining. You know, he's always game. He's always up for getting stuck in. He doesn't mind having a go. And same with Parker, really. He doesn't mind getting stuck in either. He's not too fast, not too bothered. But it's gonna be a hard one for Joe to get through, I think. I wouldn't go as far as saying, and when I say Joe, sorry, I mean Parker. Joseph Parker. There's two of them, so it makes it difficult. But
yeah, he does.
Parker, I wouldn't go as far as saying he has stamina issues, but he doesn't always keep the highest of paces in his fights, which is something Joe Joyce is well known for. So that's something he's definitely going to have to plan for.
Yeah, again, another massive fight and another good fight to sort of look to it towards the back end of the year. Plenty of them coming up. We spoke in London about your beloved Ipswich Town, top of the league. You said you'd have to come out of retirement if they didn't do it this year. Looking good, mate. You might be able to keep those boots in the wardrobe.
I know. It's good. It's all going well. We get a good 3-0 win the other day. Top of the league, doing well, undefeated so far. It's looking really good. It's looking really good. So I'm going to a game in a couple of weeks as well. That's my plan, to be at a lot more games, be there supporting the club because, like I say, the club supports me. So it's a good give and take from us both. And it's great to just see him doing well.
Certainly is. Fabio, thank you very much for giving into boxing some of your time today. And hopefully we'll catch up with you in the near future.
Down, mate. No problems. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you.